Hello and welcome to the lesson. Today we're going to learn what floating elements are and how to work with them using CSS. Here's a website with an image and two prepared paragraphs. For better visibility, I've set the body width to 650 pixels. Notice that both paragraphs are positioned under the picture. It would look much better if the text was wrapped around the picture. How can we do that? I'll start by inserting the IMG selector into the style definition. Next, I'll add the float property and set the value to right. This will make the image float to the right. After refreshing the page, we can see that the picture is aligned to the right and that the surrounding text is wrapped around it. Because I modified the width of the body element, the picture is not at the very edge of the window, but rather in the middle of the page. Now I'd like to move the picture to the left. I'll do that by changing the value of the float property to left. Let's refresh the page. We see that the picture has moved to the left. Thanks to the float property, the text still wraps around the image, this time, however, from the other side. As you can see, all of the text, including the headlines, wraps around the picture. Now I'd like to make the text of the second paragraph start below the picture instead of wrapping it. The best option is to use a CSS property called CLEAR. It's important to keep in mind that the CLEAR property is always set to the elements that wraps. In our case, it's the P paragraphs in both headlines. I'll now add the style attribute to the second paragraph and create the CLEAR property. The picture is on the left side of the text, so I'll set the value to left. After refreshing the page, we can see that the second paragraph has moved under the floating picture. The heading, however, has remained in its original position. To move it down, I'll repeat the whole process. Again, I'll add the style attribute, create the CLEAR property, and set the value to left. After a refresh, the headline has moved to the right position. Let's take a look at a similar example. This time I'll float the image to the right. You'll notice two things after refreshing the page. The picture has moved to the right, and the second paragraph, with its heading, wraps around it. Why did this happen? It's because the CLEAR properties are still set to left. However, the picture is now on the right side of the text. I'll change both of the left values to right. After refreshing the page, we can see a result similar to the previous example. The only difference is that the picture is floated to the right. The last example will be a little bit more complicated, and I'll demonstrate it in a different page. After loading up the page in a browser, we can see two images of different sizes. The first image is floated to the left. The second picture is floated to the right. I'd like to position a text paragraph below both of these pictures. First, I'll try creating the CLEAR property inside the style attribute and setting the value to left. After refreshing the page, we can see that the P element aligned under the first, smaller picture on the left. However, text still wraps around the picture on the right. Let's try to rewrite the value of the CLEAR property to right. That's better. The paragraph is now positioned below both pictures. However, if I move the larger picture to the left, the P element will wrap around it again. How do we stop this from happening? The solution is to set the CLEAR property to both. After refreshing the page, we can see that the paragraph is now positioned below both pictures. Now I'll move the larger photo back to the left and refresh the page. Notice that the P element remains on the same position. This means that if the value of the CLEAR property is set to both, the element will display under all floating elements, no matter on what side they are. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time.